Time to cook up a Bears mailbag. My name is Harrison Graham from DC Vipers. Should the Bears move on from Dennis Allen after this season? His defense has been very poor as of late. I don't think there's any scenario where you move off Dennis Allen this year. I think the last few weeks have been a bit disappointing, but when you can't get a pass rush, you're just handicapped as a play caller. Because if you blitz and they pick it up, you're pretty screwed. And if teams know you have to blitz more, that they have a lot more answers for it. So I still think overall DA's done a decent job. There's been success stories. Nashawn Wright has been one of those. Kevin Byard has played really well at an advanced age. I do think Austin Booker is developing. I'm not going to give Dennis Allen an A+ for the year, but I don't think he's been some failure or anything like that. I would expect him to be back. I would expect the Bears to give him more resources on the team next year, and then we'll see if the defense can improve. Osmonic, what positions does this team need to upgrade this offseason? I'm thinking 2 defensive ends, 1 defensive tackle, 1 safety, and probably 1 linebacker. That's a lot, but, those are all positions they could add at. You would think they would try to keep Kevin Byard on a team-friendly deal. You clearly need at least 1 defensive end, at least probably 1 depth defensive tackle, if not a starter. And then linebacker is going to be interesting. Do you go sign someone else? Do you move on from Tremaine? What do? You just extended TJ Edwards, so I think he's going to be back at least 1 more year. I don't know what they do there. Does DeMarco Jackson become a starter for cheap? Is that possible? Could you cut Tremaine or trade Tremaine and make DeMarco Jackson a starter at linebacker? Maybe. Can Ruben Hippolyte develop at all this offseason? So all fair questions, all fair thoughts. I think the theme there is they got to add on defense. We all know that. Should the Bears starters play against the Lions? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Ben Johnson's direct quote on Monday is, "We're playing to win." So I assume the starters are playing. Maybe a few guys are out. But regardless of what he said, what would you do? Would you play the starters? Yes. Would you not? Type N for no. Jared Myers, I just don't think we should prioritize trading DJ this offseason when our wide receivers have fought injuries all season and DJ has been the most durable. Fair point. Multiple games this season, DJ has come up big. #Bears. Look, I think prioritize trading him. No one's doing that. And again, I have never said trade DJ Moore because I don't like DJ Moore or I don't think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player. I think he's tough as hell. I think he plays through stuff. I like his attitude this year. It's more of, is that money that you would free up better spent elsewhere? Is that the difference in getting a big-time pass rusher? If it is, I think that's something you have to explore. No one's just looking to dump DJ Moore. It's more of, if you move him, can that buy you something else, right? It's kind of like you're playing like the stock market or something like that, or your real estate portfolio. It's like you have really good receivers here. And yeah, Rome's been banged up. He's missed some time, but he's a young player. I would expect him to be fine next year. Burden's ascending. You can find guys in the middle, late rounds of the draft. I think Jahdae Walker can continue to contribute next year and beyond. So again, am I just sprinting to the fax machine to trade DJ Moore to one of the other 31 teams? No. But if an opportunity arises where doing that, you get a pick back and free up some money to go get a really good pass rusher, that's something I got to consider if I'm a general manager. Bear down, how could we afford Crosby money-wise? Well, if you're watching live, stay tuned. There are ways to do it with trades, restructures. You could trade or cut Tremaine Edmonds. You could trade Montez Sweat. You could trade DJ Moore or restructure him. You could restructure Jalen Johnson. You could extend Cole Kmet to lower his cap hit a little bit. There's a lot of avenues to doing it. I also wonder, would you restructure a Joe Thuney? Because he's on a 3-year deal. Clearly, you want him beyond next year, so just push some more money down the road. I'd have no problem with that. So there's different avenues the Bears could take to accomplish those things. But they would clearly have to move some money around because they're barely in the green in projected cap space to start next year. Guys, the Bears are NFC North champions, and we have took the North gear at chatsports.com/Bears North. We got the navy t-shirt, the orange t-shirt. It's our first orange t-shirt or hoodie product if you want to check that out. Also, this has been a big hit, the white hoodie. That orange really, really pops. I'm going to get one of those myself, I think. chatsports.com/Bears North. Tough loss in San Francisco, but the Bears are NFC North champions. Click and shop today. Get yourself some Took the North gear. All right, Philip, what would you do differently to get better play from the defense as a whole unit? It depends on the opponent, but I think one thing, just taking the San Francisco game, for example, I think as that game went on, I would have tried to blitz more because you weren't covering the middle of the field. And late in the game, they finally did it, and Booker beat his man and hit Purdy, and he threw incomplete, and they had to punt. So maybe you take more chances. Here's the problem with bend, don't break. If you break, there's no point, right? It worked against Green Bay, and that was the right approach because the first time they blitzed a lot, Jordan Love torched them, didn't work. Second game, you were bending, but you weren't breaking. You forced they were 0 for 5 in the red zone, Green Bay was. But San Francisco was scoring at will. So I think once you feel that out, if you're DA, the first quarter and a half, 2 quarters, it's like we got to try to dial up the heat because it's not working. Other things is like, do you want to try Tyreek Stevenson more instead of N'Shawn Wright? Do you want to play DeMarco Jackson more? Like there are a few personnel things you can try, but you're not going to wake up with Myles Garrett on your team. Like the pass rush is what it is. So there's only so much you can do with the D-line, but I think schematically, you could try to blitz more. Personnel-wise, Tyreek Stevenson, DeMarco Jackson, a couple players you could try. Cullis Kingdom. If we trade for a big-name edge like Crosby, would you give up something like Sweat and a first and just let Booker be the second guy? Well, I think it depends, right? Like, what do the Raiders want back? Like, would they want Montez Sweat back? Maybe. I mean, maybe they would take him to at least replenish there a little bit? Or would you move Sweat in a different trade? Or would you restructure Sweat and keep him with Crosby for a year? That's an option. I think there's different routes. You know, it kind of depends on what team you're trading with. Like, what do they want in return? If they want just more picks, then like if I'm the Raiders, I'd probably just want as much draft capital as I could get. I wouldn't want 29-year-old Montez Sweat. If I'm trading Maxx Crosby, I'm fully committing to a rebuild. Honestly, I'd probably rather have Austin Booker and more draft capital than Montez Sweat and less draft capital if I'm the Raiders, because Booker's a young, cheap, ascending player. Montez Sweat's a better player, but he's in his late 20s. So, all right, subscribe to the channel. Free and daily Bears videos. We go live every game day as well. More content to come. Stay tuned, too. We might have some, playoff watch party plans beyond the Bears games, especially if the Bears are still winning. May check out some other games. So we'll see how it goes. Subscribe, turn on notifications. We will make it happen here. All right, Crisis King, this team is ready for the playoffs. Do you think Caleb will throw 280 yards and 5 touchdowns to become the first 4,030 touchdown seasons this week against Detroit? Well, it's 270 for the yards. I think that's very much on the table. I'd call that a coin flip. Maybe, Prize Picks, sports books, they're probably going to say it's less than 50-50. I think the early Prize Picks more or less was like 234, 235, something like that. So they're saying it's not quite 50-50, but I think there's a decent chance against this Detroit defense he could throw for 270. I mean, 5 touchdowns is a lot. Like, that doesn't happen very often. Not a 0 chance, but I'd say it's unlikely. But yeah, 4,000 I think is very much on the table, and it sounds like Caleb's going to play, so certainly a possibility. I don't think you carve a whole game plan around that. You're playing to win the game, but I think you can obviously hit some big plays against this Detroit defense right now. Lucas Van Ness, in 2018, the Bears played their starters when they needed help to benefit from winning. I think they have more to play for this time around. Yeah. So are you saying like you would play them or wouldn't? Oh, needed help to benefit from winning. So like you're saying this time the Bears, if they just win, they get the 2 seed. If that's what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. And look, you're going to play one of these 4 teams, and you guys let me know who you want the Bears to play. If you want to play the Packers, type FGB. I do for 2 reasons. One, I think right now today, out of these 4 teams, they're playing the worst, and you could argue they're the most beat up. And the second reason is that means you're the 2 seed, which means if you beat the Packers, you get a second home playoff game guaranteed in the divisional round. If you're the 3 seed, you are not guaranteed that luxury. If Philadelphia is the 2 and wins their playoff game, you would have to go to Philadelphia in the second round. I would rather be playing at home. So you guys let me know, who would you want to play in the first round? FGB for the Packers, SF for the 49ers, LAR for the Rams, SEA for the Seahawks. Type in your votes. Kobe White Enjoyer, do the Bears cut Tremaine in the offseason? He looked really good until these past 2 weeks after the injury. Yeah, I think to be determined. I'm with you. I thought he played awesome the first 10 weeks of the year or so. Got injured, and 2 weeks since hasn't looked the same. It's 2 games coming off injury. Got to give it a little more time, but he needs to play better. I thought that was his worst game of the year by far against San Francisco. Where's Nestle? How many defensive players are we drafting? All of them. I don't know. How many picks do they have? I would say it's going to be a more defensive-heavy draft. If they have 7 picks, probably spend 5 on defense. You know, it depends what you do with other guys on the roster and free agency and, you know, on the cut trade market as well. Like, hypothetically, again, I'm not saying they're going to do this, but if they pivot off DJ Moore, you know, decent chance you'd take a receiver in, like, you know, 4th or 5th round, right? Come into the rotation, something like that. So we'll see. I would imagine the premium picks would probably be more heavy defense if the board falls properly. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. Give us a follow all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's the same handle, at HGramNFL. Thanks to everybody who helped me reach 1,000 followers on TikTok. We're a couple weeks into that, so going to try to continue to ramp that up. So appreciate the support there. Also subscribe to the channel and bear down.